Slacktail Squad, assemble.
So you didn't watch yet? Did you watch? So you have not watched the Olympics, Ronz, at all, or just wrestling?
I watched here and there the Olympics. Like I was watching the
Yes. Wait for it. Wait
the
for
wrestling
it.
part.
Okay.
Sorry,
Wrestling.
I was watching the wrestling part, and I was watching something else like the swimming, but I only caught glimpses of it. It seemed pretty cool.
If you could just squeak your chair more, I really appreciate that, because when I go through it and I'm listening, I like to hear you squeaking in your chair.
I can hear thunder. That's kind of cool. Can you
Well,
hear
if
it?
you could turn up the thunder a little bit more, I'd like to hear the
that
thunder.
would
If you could bring the thunder.
Bring the thunder.
Yes.
Thunder.
Well, as I was saying to the Rons, that we were watching karate.
Yes.
And it was pretty decent with the women in the kata and in the kumite that I was watching at 4:00 in the morning. But the men's kumite at that weight class, not so interesting.
Well, I was just watching the highlights of the Olympic kumite gold for karate, and some of those shots were just awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, you had to look for them because
awesome?
I thought it was pretty cool the way they both got hits in, but one was a little bit quicker than the other. It was just like second timing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
what was the weight on that one?
It was the 21-year-old Yvette.
No.
Gorano.
What was the weight class?
I don't know. I don't weigh people.
The guy's name was Yvette? The guy's name was Yvette?
No, the woman.
Didn't he just say he was watching?
Yeah. So Dave posted on his Facebook, like, what do you think about it? I don't want your like old school bully chat. I don't want my back in my day. Just tell me what it is about Olympics. But apparently it's already not coming back in 2024. So it's already out. So probably because it sucked. But
that's not fair. But that's not fair to the women. The women did really well, and I can only speak for what I saw. What I saw was, here's what I can honestly say about it. This is Slaptail Nation, by the way. This is Slaptail Squad. You are members of the great Slaptail Nation. I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, master of all things great and small. Great.
Yes, you are.
Great, like the size of Ron's dome. Small.
Thank you.
Small, like his brain.
Oh, there we go.
No? Was that harsh?
No, you know what? It's a backhanded compliment, I guess. I'll take it.
It's a backhanded. You're like, wait a minute. So which part of that was complimentary?
Oh, well, you introduced me, gave me a build-up. Great, and then the backhanded compliment.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess.
Sort of like when you come down to the Swan, you just say, Swan, shut the fuck up. But my God, you got a great ass. That's kind of a backhanded compliment. Like, hey, you're great at this, but you suck at that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Anyway.
Well, more to you, the Swan. How are you feeling? I mean, it's
okay. Get over it. It's not necessary. You don't have to ask her that every freaking time. Do you think that she's just going to spontaneously say she feels terrible? She's already 8 weeks out. She's fine.
This was the last time I was going to ask this damn question.
It's only 7 weeks. It's
whatever.
Only 7 weeks.
Who cares?
Everybody wants to know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling great.
Everybody wants to know how you're doing with the absence of your uterus. That's very forefront in the Ron's mind. Everybody needs to know.
Yeah, he cares about my absence of uterus.
Please answer. Please answer. Please tell us.
I'm feeling good. I started back at my normal workout routine, which probably is more than most people's workout routine. And I'm probably still in better shape than most people. However, my abs did suck.
And we were talking about the Olympics, so way to stray from the topic, Ronz, after I introduced the podcast.
You didn't know,
because the Swan was talking about karate and how it's not going to be in the 2024 Olympics. And I was getting ready to comment before you're like, oh, and by the way, Hey Ray.
Yeah.
Hey Ray.
Yeah.
How's your
isn't the Olympics about health and being in shape?
how's your lady
Not
pouch?
really, because you know what's replacing karate in the next Olympics?
Do tell.
Breakdancing.
Hey Ray,
No freaking way.
how's your lady pouch doing there, Swan?
I don't have it. I don't have it anymore.
You don't have your lady pouch?
I got my lady pouch, yes, but I don't
How's
have
your
my
how's your
uterus.
raisin?
My
How's your
baby
raisin?
pouch. My raisin is good. plump.
Well, you
It's
know.
plump and juicy.
There you go. There you go. So you're feeling better. That's all I wanted to know.
Yes. You don't have to ask me anymore. I'll tell you if I start to feel bad.
Anyways, I was going to say about karate, or the way of the empty hand, or if you're the Ronz, you practice COVID-tay.
I knew that was coming.
The way of the COVID hand. I cannot fairly judge how karate went. All I can do is give my opinion. And here is my opinion. The ladies' competition that I watched was phenomenal. Their kata was beautiful and crisp and clean and just amazing to watch. That's what are you talking about amazing. Just the speed and the accuracy. I was like, oh my God, look how fast that lady's fucking foot was. Look how fast her hands are. Just beautiful. And
have you ever seen...
Shut the fuck up, Ronz! Shut the fuck up! Can you just shut the fuck up while I talk about it? You just can't wait. You just can't wait. You just can't wait to fucking talk.
All right.
Can I just give my opinion?
Boy.
And then I watched the men's kumite, and the weight class we watched, I think it was like the 67 kilogram. It was very disappointing. All they did was bounce on their toes. And I will say this. I have been to local karate tournaments, and the kids who are in the local tournaments all the way up through the adults do some fantastic moves. And they don't sit there and bounce around for a minute and 10 seconds without
out
even
of a 3-minute round. Out of a
3-minute kumite. Yeah. And then I had a migraine that same night, so I was up at like 3-something in the morning. So I was like, well, I know the women are going to start their kumite at 4 a.m. our time, so I'm going to watch it. And the women fought very aggressively, and it was very good to watch. So I don't know what happened with the other men's matches, but I was very disappointed. And I was also very disappointed because they fought with their hands down as if it was a Taekwondo match. And I was this is not karate.
So I was just reading through a reputable person's Facebook post who is well known in the martial arts era.
Is it Ronz? Ronz was posting?
It is Ronz. Yes. No, it's not Ronz. But it says Kumite was what Taekwondo should have been. The Kumite lacked technique. One shot here, one shot there. No winning combos to speak of. Like, that's pretty accurate. Like, no. Yeah, it was pretty awful. Not gonna lie.
It was sad to see. I was really excited that karate was going to be in the Olympics because let's face it, I don't get that jazzed about the Olympics. There's some things that I like to watch. I like to, if I'm lucky enough to get the Olympics when boxing is on, I'll watch boxing and I'll watch volleyball and I'll watch beach volleyball. The rest of the stuff I don't really watch too much.
As we speak, because you're telling me to shut up, I'm watching the male kumite 75 kilogram, right? And it's an aggressive fight.
Okay, well, we were talking about 67 kilograms. No,
I understand.
So maybe just check your dyslexia and flip it around for a minute and watch that one.
Okay, I will.
No, wow, but that's good to hear. But that's good to hear, Ronz, because the one that I watched was very disappointing. So it's good to hear that the other ones were better.
Maybe they finally talked to them and said, you got to do something. Got to make this shit a little bit more.
This is Rafael Nagiev versus Noah Bish. Yeah, and I'm watching this, and I mean, whoever took the footage is crappy, but it's aggressive.
Well, that's good because what we watched was not good. It was like watching. This is how disappointing it was, Ronz. It was like watching your style spar inside the dojo.
No, it wasn't slap fighting. It wasn't slap fighting.
You know how you guys look at each other's feet and just kind of walk around and then you slap each other and kind of kick each other's ankles.
Oh yeah. It's like Shubito Jiu-Jitsu where you go around slap-assing them and hopefully when you touch them they roll. Then you jump on them and you submit them. I've seen you guys.
We submit them. What?
Yeah, I mean, isn't your motto control through pain?
It is.
Right, there you go. You submit them, right? You walk up, you grab their ass.
It's not just a motto, it's a philosophy or a way of life. Controlling your opponent through pain.
Okay. Yes. Understood. But you know,
Pain
you,
is the
you
way.
guys kind of
Pain is the way. It's like being hugged by a bear.
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
yeah.
Think of it as a gentle hug from a bear.
Okay.
I mean,
It was a
do
gentle hug from a bear.
you think anybody really wakes up pain free? Like I have nothing that hurts at all, not even just a little twinge of anything. Does anybody have that?
Sure, I'm sure
like,
lots of people wake up with no pain.
like toddlers or
I'm
what?
sure lots of
'Cause-
people wake up with no pain because they live pretty docile lives.
Hmm.
And if they get
Yeah,
the most minimal of pain, then it's like earth shattering for them.
Yeah, but if you're in an active lifestyle, martial arts, whatever you do, right? I mean, you guys, are in the medical field. You're nurses, so you're running around picking up things, doing things, right? Depending on how aggressive your day is. Yeah, you're gonna wake up in pain, but yeah, I agree with the Beaveman. If you leave a pretty docile life, well, maybe a splinter might just do you in.
It might. You never know.
That's true.
It is true. A splinter could do you in. Truthfully,
It
Could
Good.
fester and get all infected, and you'll have
I knew you were gonna go there.
osteomyelitis.
there was I didn't ever read it. I'm gonna have to try to find this book, but I heard about this book once upon a time that was about I believe it was about the canning industry in the 1800s or the early 1900s, and it was supposed to be about how dangerous it was and how you could die from something just as simple as cutting your hand on a can. And it was meant to give everybody this sympathy for those workers, but it actually just made everybody feel like it's a disgusting industry. In other words, the food coming from it might be gross. I'll have to try to find that book. I bet it would be really a pretty interesting read.
I mean, but who here has not cut themselves on a can? I did. I know, like when I was a kid, opening a can. Because I did with the can, and everyone keeps warning you, like, don't touch the top; it's going to be sharp. And
So you touched it anyway. You're like,
I didn't touch it on purpose, but I went to like
I bet you did.
squeeze. It was a can of tuna fish. You know how you squeeze the water out of it, and I went to do that, and the edge cut my finger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Great story.
yeah, it was a great story.
Was it called the Good Hope Cannery, Life and Death at the Salmon Cannery?
I don't know. I thought it was a pickle place, but I could be wrong.
It could be. So
when was it written?
Really couldn't tell you.
Well, then, pretty sure this was written during the Industrial Revolution.
Are you talking about Cannery Row by John Steinbeck?
It's not fiction.
Okay.
Doesn't John Steinbeck write fiction? I don't know. I don't know these
Could
things.
Be. Yeah,
I don't know these things, people, because I'm not an expert.
This is just made up bullshit. So if you believe anything we say, well, that's on you.
Ronz, would you like me to tell you a story?
Please, by all means, because whenever you have an opinion, I can't interrupt, but a story I can.
How about let me ask you this question, Ronz.
Yes, sir.
Since you have no fear.
I have none.
You have no fear.
None at all. Wait, I want to. Ronz has no fear at all.
None.
I don't believe that. He's gonna.
Well, I can't give childbirth, so I don't fear that.
Okay. Clowns. Do you fear clowns? No.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Do you remember when we had that clown scare a few years ago where people were dressing up as clowns?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty
were you about to say awesome?
That's pretty awesome.
No, that was pretty stupid because there's a video, of course, online of a clown coming out and a guy pulling an actual gun on the guy.
I mean, that's what I would do.
That's what would have happened if they had somebody.
I thought that was fantastic because it's like it's a prank and it's like, oh really?
Yeah. Well, that's why they were warning those people from doing it because they're like, you know what, you're going to do that to the wrong person, and a lot of people do carry. I carry a gun, not all the time, but that's what would have happened if somebody had done that to me. I'd be like, oh, you're about to get shot.
I thought you carried a weapon because your gun is for fun.
Anyway,
come on.
No. Hey, Ronz, because you fear nothing, do you go to the dentist?
Yeah.
How often do you go to the dentist?
When I need to.
So just when you have a problem, or do you go like routinely every 6 months for a cleaning?
No, when I need to, when I have a problem.
So you don't go to the dentist.
That's the wrong way to go to the dentist.
How should I go? By bike, car, airplane?
Rocket ship. But no, you don't go get your teeth routinely cleaned and like checked and x-rays. You just wait until it's all festering and having a problem. And then you're like, oh, it's time to see the dentist because my jaw is like 3 times the size it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're supposed to go twice a year, at least. But the Beaveman hasn't been to the dentist since 2018.
So why are you giving me this condescending, you should go, Ronz?
Did I say
From the
anything?
Swan.
Okay, well,
would you let me finish? Don't you get upset? So your own spouse.
I haven't been for a reason.
I have been to the dentist routinely, except for when appointments were canceled because of COVID.
You let that scare you?
They were
But
closed.
they
They
were
federally
closed.
they closed them.
They didn't allow patients. They weren't necessarily patients.
So, right. That's what they want you to believe. Anyway, what's the story?
That's true, but okay.
No. We all know it's a conspiracy theory against the human population. You could have gone at any time.
You want me to die of a dental infection?
No, but you could have gone at any time.
Well, I haven't been because my dentist fucked up my teeth, and that made me mad, so I didn't go.
So you're like, fuck her.
But now, I'm not going to go back to them. I'm going to go to a different one. But now they're like, I've called a couple dental places. They're like, oh, we're not accepting patients until January. I'm like, well, that's great. That's just fucking awesome. I haven't been for years, but that's fine. But at least I take good care of my teeth. I floss.
So why not go where the Swan goes?
Because he doesn't like that dentist.
I like her as a person.
The dentist has not fucked up my teeth, so I go there.
Oh, you guys go to the same practitioner?
Yes.
Well, not anymore because he's not been there in 3 years, so he's no longer a patient there.
Yeah.
What about where the baby Swan goes for her teeth?
Why would you
goes where I do?
Why would you assume that we all have different dentists?
I don't know.
So you have a different dentist than Carrie and RJ.
He doesn't go to the dentist routinely, so he just goes to like the back behind the McDonald's. You're like that guy that has his sign that says dental clinic.
He doesn't know because he's not allowed to make those decisions. He just goes where Carrie tells him to go.
Let me tell you why I don't go to the dentist.
Let me tell you why.
But I went to a dentist because I had a filling loose and it was cutting into my tongue, right? So I went to have it removed. And the dentist would not... Yeah, it was a.
You had your tongue removed? We're gonna have your tongue removed?
No, I had the filling removed, right? And the guy wouldn't talk to me, or he was hemming and hawing, and he was like, "You've got something wrong." Yeah, but I don't want to tell you. I don't want to deliver the bad news. And I looked at him. I'm like, I can take the bad news. And I told Carrie after we're done with this guy because I actually had to draw the information out of him. We're not going back to this guy.
So what did he say was wrong?
It just come loose. It was jagged. And he says, you need to have that replaced or something else.
Why is it? So let me get this
straight. Why was he making it sounded like you were going to die of cancer?
Well, no, it's not that. It's just the way he delivered it.
I have some bad news. I don't want to tell you. You might want to get your spouse for this one so you can hold each other's hands.
That's what it felt like.
Who here doesn't think that he's telling the story as it actually occurred?
Me.
All right, fair enough.
Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. You went to see the dentist because you had a jagged spot on your tooth that was cutting into your tongue because you couldn't stop playing with your tooth with your tongue. And the dentist said, you have this problem, but I don't want to tell you what it is. And literally all it was that he needed to replace your filling.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. I feel like there's more to the story. So did you get your tooth repaired? You went to a different dentist and you got it repaired. No. So you just never had. So it's still all ragged.
No, he filed it down. It got taken care of, but I never went back to that dentist. I mean, if you can't talk to me one-on-one about a certain situation, a medical procedure, I don't want to go back to you.
Maybe he thought you were retarded and you needed someone. Can you go get your responsible party so that I can explain it to them? He was
brought directly from adult daycare. That's why he had to get on the bus. He got the bus and brought there.
Yeah, can you bring your guardian? Can you bring your guardian in?
Why doesn't the Beaveman take you then? Like, well, you're his guardian. It's like, okay.
I think what really happened is that because Ronz makes no decisions, they asked Carrie, they're like, well, who's the responsible party on here? And she just puts her name, so he's not allowed to make any decisions. So like, we just have to talk to her first.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
No, I don't go because I had this, sort of like you, I had this rough spot on the underside of my tooth. and they have this little buffer machine that they can kind of soften that spot so that it doesn't feel rough when your tongue rolls across it. And I told my dentist that, and she's like, "Oh, here, let me buff it out a little bit for you." So she touched up that spot. And she's like, "Is that okay?" And I was like, "Sure, that feels much better." Well, then she did it to 3 of my other teeth, and I didn't want that done. She ended up filing off the protective enamel on top of my 2 teeth and changing the actual shape of my teeth and my front teeth. I used to have like perfectly straight across bottom teeth and upper teeth, my front ones, and now they're fucked up. So,
she wanted to make you ugly.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I was fucking pissed off, dude. I was like, I am never fucking going back there. And not only that, but the bite block that I have to wear when I sleep at night has changed the shape of my teeth, changed the orientation of my teeth. So now, I never had this problem before. Now my bottom teeth hit my top teeth when I eat. And so I'm going to end up probably having to pay some freaking orthodontist to fix my bite.
So why don't you get some of those mail order Invisalign bite thingies?
I might.
Too.
You never know. I might. Instead of going and shelling out like $5,000 like the Swan to fix her 2 front teeth.
Look at these teeth. They're pretty. It's not just fixing my front teeth. It's fixing my bite on my left side. So it's making my teeth all line up pretty and nice.
But you've also had breast augmentation, according to the
Beaveman. Whoa.
Why are we talking about the boobies? Right from the teeth to the boobies. Like, stay on topic. We're talking about teeth.
Yeah, we're talking about teeth augmentation to make yourself look good. So is that what we want for the Beaveman?
Teeth augmentation? No. I guess no. I'm not adding anything.
Are you saying that Ronz is wrong? Are you saying that's not augmentation?
I guess. No, I don't know.
So
alignment, realignment.
Okay, so you've done all this cosmetic stuff. I mean, why not?
Why not get a tummy tuck?
I want one. Jesus, stop!
Scott didn't go there. So it's okay for the Beaveman to mention
shrinkage.
I want. So it's okay. I want some liposuction right here and some. Yeah, exactly.
So it's okay for the Beaveman to mention augmentation in any form, but the minute I do it, I'm wrong.
Well,
I mean,
we pay for it together, and I'm the one who gets
the benefits.
I don't really get any benefits because I think your teeth looked fine, personally, but whatever. That doesn't benefit me. That doesn't benefit me in any way.
And the rest of the body augmentation.
So,
do you get any benefit from that?
No, I mean, I've never parked my garage there. I've never parked my Cadillac in her garage.
I feel like that's probably a lie.
But I mean, that was all I was looking forward to. But no, I have not. So, whatever. But we would agree that going to the dentist is probably important.
Yeah, I feel like you should take care of your teeth and your feet.
So it's time to scare the Ronz. It's scary.
All right.
It's scary story times. Scary stories ripped from the headlines.
Ripped from the headlines. Let's do this.
All right. Michael was a 27-year-old man, married, father of a 2-year-old girl. He'd been having pain in his wisdom tooth for the past 2 weeks, and it wasn't the first time.
Dun, dun, dun.
He'd been told that the tooth needed to be removed 3 months ago by a doctor at his local urgent care. At that time, he was prescribed an antibiotic, an oral rinse, and some pain medications. The urgent care even provided him a resource: contact information for a local dentist that worked with insured and uninsured patients. So he actually saw the dentist a week later. The dentist confirmed that the tooth needed to be removed immediately. But Michael,
I mean, if the dentist is saying immediately, it's probably pretty urgent.
Yeah.
Because usually they're like, oh, we could put that off for a couple weeks. Okay.
But Michael felt better. And despite the warning, he opted not to have the extraction.
Did Michael finish his antibiotics, or does he got some extras?
That's a funny word for, that means that you're going to pull that tooth out.
Extraction. Hey, does Michael have any extra antibiotics? Because he probably should.
I don't know, but why are you yelling in the microphone?
I'm not yelling in the microphone.
You seem to be getting real passionate about it.
I am. I'm just concerned because he shouldn't have any extras. Take them all till they're gone, people.
Do you take your antibiotics till they're all gone, Ronz? Or do you not take antibiotics? You don't take them because you're like, I don't need them.
I take them until they're all gone.
Excellent.
Not until you feel better, and then you have a couple left over, and you just keep them for next time. Keep them for next time.
No, I take them all.
Good.
I really do.
Good, Ronz. That's what you're supposed to do.
However, pain medication's different. I don't
You
like
hoard those?
taking.
I would. Okay.
No,
I sell them.
I don't like taking pain. I don't like to take pain medication.
I
will
agree
take it
with
if
you.
I have to, but once I'm somewhat feeling better, I'll lay off.
All right, but Michael felt better, and despite the warning, he opted not to have the extraction.
Big dummy.
He was working in roofing at the time and had no dental benefits, so he would have had to pay out of pocket. The dental extraction would have cost between $80 and $150. And since he'd already paid his copay for the urgent care and he paid for his medications, clearly.
And he had to buy that case of cigarettes and beer.
Well, and Mountain Dew.
Yeah, probably.
Clearly, these people were just trying to scam money out of him. That's what he told his wife anyway, as he played with his daughter on the floor. So now the pain had returned. He went back to the same urgent care. This time, he was told he had to see a dentist immediately for an extraction, just like last time. The doctor called the dentist, who agreed to see the patient for the previously discussed fee, and asked the urgent care doctor to start the patient on antibiotics. Again, he was prescribed pain medications and an oral rinse. Michael went to the pharmacy, but because he felt that it was a waste of money and that the pain was his bigger concern, he only filled the prescription for the pain medication. He decided not to see the dentist. He got better the last time, and now he had a prescription for pain medication. So that should do the trick.
So that's all he really wanted?
That was all he needed. That was all he needed. So 3 days later, still suffering from pain despite the use of pain medication, his face began to swell, and he had difficulty swallowing and speaking. He felt like his breathing was a bit restricted.
Sucks to be Michael.
Yeah, his wife took him to a local emergency room where he was immediately intubated.
And how much did that bill cost? More than his $150.
I don't know, but you could probably stop yelling.
I'm not yelling. More than his $150 dental extraction.
I was trying to explain what intubated means, but you go ahead and just keep yelling into the microphone.
I already explained to that. Our listeners should know from last time what intubated means.
What if we have new listeners?
Oh, well then go ahead and explain it for them.
No, go ahead. Ronz knows. Go ahead, Ronz. Tell us what intubated means. You should know from the last podcast.
Yeah, Ronz, if you were paying attention.
That's what the Swan
first of all, don't turn on me because the Swan interrupted you. This is not about me. This is about her interrupting.
The Swan said that the listeners should know what intubated means because she explained it before. And since you're on the podcast, you would know also. So please validate what she has.
No. I want to hear the end of the story.
I would like you to validate what she said.
I would love to hear the end of the story.
And explain to us what intubated means.
I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen at the end of the story.
Are you going to explain what intubated means so you can validate Swan's statement?
Intubated means to be checked in and I guess, lack of a better word.
No, Ronz, let me not yell at you. Let me instead yell at the Swan. So here, Swan, is proof that
Ronz doesn't ever pay attention.
No, it's proof that you should still explain it.
I was just making a point, see? Same point. Go ahead.
No, I was making a point. The point is, intubated is a fancy word that means they had to put a tube into your breathing hole so that you could breathe, because you're not going to be able to breathe on your own because they're going to have to take you down or your own body's taking you down.
Okay, fair enough.
So he was immediately intubated. Not a good thing, people. Oral surgeons, infectious disease specialists, and intensivists were consulted. He was treated surgically and medically, and despite their best efforts, Michael succumbed to the raging infection and died 2 days later.
Serves him right. Go to the dentist, folks.
Harsh.
Now, poor little 2-year-old's going to grow up without her dad.
Maybe she'll grow up to be a dentist.
Yeah. That's called survival of the fittest. Clearly, Michael was pretty fucking stupid.
A 2013 study published in the Journal of Endodontics examined 61,000 hospitalizations for dental abscesses between 2000 and 2008. The researchers found that 66 of those patients, or roughly 1 in 1,000, died. Does that seem like a scary statistic? Ronz would say no. He would say that 1 in 1,000 is not a big deal.
I also think that the reason people don't go to the dentist is because, A, like you mentioned, no insurance, or they can't afford it.
Yeah, but okay, so $100 for a dental extraction, a visit to get that tooth that was causing the problem pulled, or how much money did he spend? He went to the urgent care. That's like $300 to $500 a visit, twice, plus his pain medicine, plus his antibiotics. Now his ICU bill, ER bill, and
Well, he doesn't have an ICU bill because he's dead.
because he's dead. But anyway,
but I understand that. But also, when you work with the disenchanted out there,
the disenchanted,
yeah,
they don't have any chance. No chance.
Did you say? I'm sorry. Did you say disenchanted?
I did.
That's a nice way to say poor or homeless or what.
Listen,
I'm not disenchanted. Is not the right word, guys.
Disenfranchised. I don't know. Pick a word. But there's a guy. There's a gentleman I know that's got a thyroid problem, and his neck is swollen, and he refuses to go get it checked out.
So he has a goiter. What is he? That's dumb.
I agree, but is he homeless?
Okay, but however, there are, just like the Beaveman said, they gave Michael a list of resources that takes non-insured, free, reduced cost care based on your income, etc.
I understand that. But when you go to some of these clinics, it's a long wait, and sometimes maybe you don't have that much time.
No, come on. First, you went from no money to be like, oh, I don't have that kind of time.
Well, the thing is also, I mean, let's look at the reality. I'm not saying you're wrong. You should make time, but if can you take a day off of work and wait in an office for 8 hours?
Do you think homeless Michael is working?
He said he gives this example of being homeless, and then he goes, well, I mean, then you expect the homeless person with no job to take a day off from work to go sit in a clinic. Which example do you want to give?
I'm throwing it all together.
Yeah,
I really am.
Why don't you just stick with one thing? And
you know what? I'm making excuses for this guy who I have no idea what he did or how he was.
If you paid attention, I said he worked in roofing.
Would you let me finish? Honestly, I don't know the guy's background, and I don't know the excuses he has.
Pay attention to the story, Ronz.
I am, but I guess I'm making excuses for his ignorance or stupidity, depending on how you look at it.
Based on your own past experiences.
No, but then again, I don't know the entire dynamics of what this guy was going through.
Well, first of all, I made it up. I did say that,
No, because
it's a story that I ripped from the headlines. It's ripped from the headlines.
Believe it or not, this has actually happened before. In
no way. Has this really happened before?
One out of 1,000 times.
1,000 times.
No, there was a young boy whose tooth had abscessed, and he died.
Yes, I know.
It happens 1 out of 1,000 times.
It happens 1 out of 1,000 times. And because of that tragic death, there's new legislation in that state helping to protect people from having dental issues that are not covered. Yeah, but one of those particular stories where the young lad died, his extraction would have cost $80. His hospital bill was over $250,000, and the kid still died.
Maybe he wasn't taking his pills. I don't know.
No, that's not what happened. His family didn't have the money to pay for his extraction, and instead of seeking resources to do so, it got quite bad quite quickly, and he died.
If, let's say, that happened to you and you couldn't pay for it, would you extract the tooth yourself?
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you don't... So here's the natural progression of dental infections, or what happens in primary care. First of all, there's this real problem in this country of getting to see a dentist in the first place. So even if you, like me, they didn't even ask if I had a dental issue when I called the dentist. They said, call back in January when we're accepting new patients. They didn't say, do you have a toothache? Do you need just a regular screening visit? Do you need a cleaning? They just said, we're not accepting patients. Call back in January.
So they don't have an emergency set up.
That's not the point. The point is, they didn't even ask. They didn't ask what the nature of my call was or anything. They just said, we're not accepting patients. Call back in January.
Do you think it might have been just you that they said that to?
I mean, do you want to call? We can give you the number and you can call and see.
Me? Why would it be just me?
Because they got it out for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound too unreasonable. But anyway, the point is there's a real problem with dental in this country in the first place because a lot of dental providers don't want to accept state insurance. They don't want to accept Medicaid. They only want to accept private insurance. But if you ask them, hey, can I pay for this in cash? A lot of them will say yes, because they'd rather pay in cash instead of have to take insurance. So if you offer to pay in cash, great. But if you need an extraction and you don't get it done because it costs $80, and we lost Ronz, that's fine. And you don't get an extraction because it costs $80, you mean to tell me you can't scrape up $80 to have a tooth removed when there's so many other things that you can have that you pay money for?
I feel like people, here's just the general rule for everything. People don't know how to budget their money right, because $80 is not a lot of money, even if you didn't have a lot of money. Think about how many times you eat out, you drive around for no reason, so you waste gas in your car, or you bought a Starbucks, or you bought the Mountain Dew, or the cigarettes, or you went and got a scratch off ticket, or something stupid that you wasted money on that plenty of people waste money on. You could come up with $80. I know I waste money. I mean, not as much as people who smoke and drink and whatever, but I buy fancy coffee once or twice a week. So I could save that money.
Yeah, you can easily do it. And even if you couldn't have it done, here's part of the problem, in my opinion, is one, if you went to the dentist and they said, hey, this is the issue, you really need to have this checked, what are they telling the people that are saying, you know what, I can't afford this? Are they just saying, oh, it's no big deal, you don't have to have this removed? Because if that's what they're doing, if you're not making it, if you're not really emphasizing to someone that it's a major priority, that's a problem.
Yeah, so you're saying, I guess, yeah, some of it is the dental industry's fault. Like, they don't care about their patients. Is that what you're saying? Because I feel like that probably is true. I mean, if I'm taking care of somebody and I feel like there's a problem, I would reiterate the problem and the importance of why you should get it taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they don't care, but I'm also saying that is it a possibility that even they are not taking dental infections as serious as they should? Because we don't have the problem with, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, I believe, in my opinion, that 1 out of 1,000 deaths due to a dental infection is way too fucking high.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
I think that's ridiculous. So anyway, we lost the Ronz. He had to go. There was a down power line, so he had to go.
Did you know I'm a black belt and I can help out?
Yeah. No, we were just talking about that. You should.
Wait,
even
I have a question. Hold on. So with that being said, do you have like your little gear all set up like firemen do? Like your black belt and your reflective vest right by the door so you could just jump into it and run out and be like, I'm ready. No?
Yes, I do, in fact.
Do you?
No, I don't.
Like the little boots, his rubber boots.
No, he doesn't want to ground himself. Do you feel like when you get a little bit older, Ronz, you're going to start wearing suspenders? Because I can see that in your future.
No.
I feel like you're going to wear suspenders.
I do not want to wear suspenders. No? I will try and stay in shape as best as I can.
Well, there's not much we can do.
Round is a shape.
There's not much we can do about it if we don't really work our butts, because that's what holds our pants up.
Well, I tend to work out quite a bit. And in fact, with my new job, I am working out.
Your job is not a workout. I hate people who say that. I'm like, yeah, I go, you know, your body adapts, right? So your job is not a workout.
No, my job's a workout.
So wait a minute. So let me get this straight. Let me clarify then. So in a month from now, let's say a month from now, 2 months, let's give you 2 months, 2 months of doing your job. From you doing that workout, you're going to be in better shape than me and the Swan, right?
I wouldn't say I'm in better shape because you guys are already in top-notch shape.
No. Swan, is our job a workout?
No.
My job is not a workout. Swan's job is not a workout. I work out a half an hour a day. So You're saying that with your job as a workout that you'll be in better shape than the Swan and I, who only work out about a half an hour a day.
No, because you guys actually put a little bit more effort into.
But you were just saying that your job is
your job is a workout, and you do it for like 8 hours.
So. No, I was saying for me, but not. You're doing a comparison against you two.
So basically, compared to sitting on the couch, now he's doing physical activity in an upright position for 8 hours. That's rough. And that's a workout.
It is.
Anyway, as I was saying, back to the whole dental
Back to
thing.
Michael. Okay, Michael.
Back to the whole dental thing. Why can't you just scrape up one? If you can't scrape up $80 to have a tooth extraction, that's a little bit ridiculous. But two, as I was telling the Swans, I believe this is also a failure on the dental folks, because if you're not emphasizing how important it is to treat a dental infection, then you're being negligent. And I feel like that it's probably because there's only 1 in 1,000 people that die from a dental infection, which to me is a super high number. But even to a dentist, maybe dentists are becoming complacent and be like, you know what, I don't, if they don't have it extracted, it's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal, because this is what happens. You get a dental infection, right? You get a toothache. You go see the dentist. Let's say in a perfect world, you go see the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we would want you to do. But you know what happens a lot? People don't go see the dentist. They go see their doctor. And this is what I tell all my patients who come to see me for dental problems.
Is it because the
I'm
dentist has
not
this?
a dentist.
Yeah, but is it because the dentist has gotten a bad reputation of being a pain monger?
No.
They go. That is your own perception of it, because my child, since age 3 or less, has looked forward to going to the dentist. Like, she still likes the dentist. So
okay, so stay on topic.
Okay, staying on topic.
So if you go see your doctor for a dental issue, there's a couple things, a problem with that in the first place. For a long time, and I don't even know if it's changed now because I don't do billing, but for a while there, they were telling us that we won't even get paid if you come for a dental visit. So if you go see your doctor and you have a toothache and I see you, I don't even get paid for that when they submit it to insurance, and we don't get paid for it because we're not dentists. So what happens is when you come to see me for a toothache, I'm like, okay, I need you to call your dentist. I need you to get an appointment with your dentist. I'm going to give you this antibiotic. I'm going to put you on this oral rinse. If the pain gets really bad, you're going to have to go to the emergency room. And then I tell them all these scary things to look out for so that they don't have a bad dental infection that will wind up in the hospital and kill them. And I tell them, I say this to all my patients who come in for dental. I have seen patients admitted to the intensive care unit for dental infections. And I don't know what happened to them after that. They might have died. Who knows? But I've seen it. So please, please, please go to the dentist. But a lot of times when people when they come in, unless they're all lying to me, and I'm sure there's a percentage of them that do, a lot of them say, I called the dentist and I can't get in for 2 weeks or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, fine, but you still need to go see the dentist. But what happens?
They feel better and they cancel. They don't ever make that follow-up dentist appointment.
But here's the problem. Even if you feel better, the chances are your infection's not gone.
It's just cleared up on the surface.
It's just down there festering, waiting, because the actual treatment is that you actually probably need to have a dental extraction or you need to have a root canal or something else. That's why it's frightening. That's why it's scary. And the progression of it can be freaking horrifying, because what can happen is we have all these nice little spaces in our body where an infection can travel to. And one of the scary, scary spaces is underneath our tongue and underneath our jawline, underneath where it compresses our airway, and underneath our chest and our mediastinum area where it can also swell. And all those spaces will fill up with pus. And what does that do? If it travels down, chances are it's going to occlude the airway.
You're just full of good news when it comes to this, aren't you?
Very little time. Very little time do they have to diagnose that before you are dead. The natural, it could progress in as fast in somebody who's relatively healthy in as fast as 48 hours. And in somebody who's elderly and maybe with chronic conditions, they could be dead within hours of developing a condition known as Ludwig's angina. Basically, where that area just fills completely up with fucking pus and fluids and clogs off the airway.
Now, last podcast when you're going for your colonoscopy, you said that there's another condition that could happen when they put you under, and it's where your lungs fill up with fluid.
Pulmonary edema.
Yeah, pulmonary edema. And that could happen at any time too. Am I correct?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it would have to have the right combination of bad stuff to happen. But
so,
do people spontaneously have pulmonary edema? I'm sure there are cases, but it's not often.
So
But
you
hey,
guys
good
are
news.
just full of scaring the fuck out of people.
Good news, by the way. I thought that I had to have general anesthesia when I went in for my colonoscopy. I thought they were going to put a tube in my throat, but they didn't. They just used Diprovan, and I didn't have to have that done. And I actually was in and out of there, no problem. Wasn't groggy the rest of the day. It was awesome.
What is
So
Diprovan?
thank you so much, my doctor. Oh, by the way, I have a song to sing.
Diprovan is propofol, the same medicine that killed Michael Jackson, but basically it's a paralytic, but you still breathe on your it's a sedation medication that's half-life.
That's all you had to say. I
wait,
don't know
but its half-life
other
is
terms.
very short. So if you give it, you're under anesthesia getting watched for it. It wears off very quick and you wake up without grogginess. So
Quickly reversible is what she's saying, basically.
Yes.
But
So
this is a song I wrote, Ronz, while I was doing my prep, by the
Let's
way.
hear it.
Little sidebar.
To the tune of
the Oscar Mayer Weenie song.
All
Okay.
right.
Actually, it's to the Oscar Mayer Baloney song. Yeah.
Okay,
Not
okay.
the, not
Pick
the
your
Weenie.
one.
Yeah.
It's Baloney.
Fine.
My butthole has a first name. It's Ouchy. But it also has a second name that's going to make me cry. Oh, I have to wipe several times each day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, 'cause Dr. Bayer has a way with Buttpla. Why?
You got problems. Ron's is still spelling right now. He doesn't get it.
Like, what is the...
No, I got it. I mean, I was listening.
Ouchie. That was the prep. My butthole was very ouchy. It was very ouchy.
So, with all the crap that you shit out constantly, as you said,
my butthole
Just
hurt. It was
liquid
coming out.
water.
My butthole.
how much
my butthole
weight
was
did you
coming out.
lose?
Actually, I only lost 4 pounds this time.
Wow. And how
And
much did you gain back?
I gained it immediately back because I ate 2 chili dogs. No, I ate 4 chili dogs,
3 donuts.
3 donuts, and a bunch of other random shit. And it took me 2 days to lose that. 2 days to lose that weight.
So, I know what of a health nut you are, and you went back and ate all that crap food.
It just sounded good, man. Just sounded good.
Okay.
Anyway, so back to the whole dental thing. Yes, I am trying to scare you because I think 1 in 1,000 deaths is out of proportion. So if you have that toothache, but it gets better, it's still brewing underneath the surface. You have to have that extraction or you have to have that root canal. And what happens, I think, is that people just feel like, oh, I feel better. The dentist recommended pulling it, but I'm okay. I could do whatever I want to do because I got better. But you're probably not going to get better. So if that travels downward, or immediately, let's say we'll cut the head in half, remove the lower jaw, and that's what I mean from downward, okay? From upward, we have spaces there too, so it could automatically travel through the pathway of the optics, or the optic nerve, or the optic vessels, and lead right up to your fucking brain and the optic vessels and the optic nerves, and you could get swelling of the brain that way and die that way too.
I've seen that happen when I worked in critical care. Yep.
Or you could have neither one happen and it just travels to your blood and then you get sepsis, which that's a total shutdown. That's an overreaction of your body to an infection. And then it's just a cascading event where basically all of your organs shut down and you're going to die from that one too. Or you could have both of them, or you could have all 3, or you could have one starting the other, or you could have something called necrotizing mediastinitis, which basically means that you're just getting eaten. You know, tissue is dying.
Rotting away.
Tissue is just dying.
You
So
guys
necrotizing.
are so fun when you go to a doctor or a dentist because I never know what's going to come back.
What do you mean?
So-
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is, you go there and it's like, as medical practitioners that you are, you guys go in there and you know what to expect.
You
but
always say
also-
that, but you always say that. But why do you think we know what to expect? We don't even work. That's not the theater of operation we work in.
No,
anymore.
it doesn't matter because you know what to expect from your point of view, but you also know how horribly it could go bad. And you focus on how horribly it can go bad.
Well, isn't that what you're supposed to do in your career field? Like when you were a fueler, you're
That's
like
problem solver.
Yeah,
That's what makes you
the
a problem
same thing.
solver.
You did the same thing. You're right. Oh, I need this safety gear. That's why I have to take that guy's clothes off right away. He got some fuel on
don't
him.
you? You're supposed to anticipate all things going bad. Isn't that how you practiced? Isn't that how you were?
No, I understand that concept, but I don't walk in with a pessimistic attitude like, I'm going to die today, possibly.
Who has a pessimistic attitude?
If I don't get that colonoscopy, I'm going to die of cancer.
Well, but if you did get the
there's the word
colonoscopy, but if you did get the colonoscopy, then you would know, wouldn't you? Isn't that better to know that you've done prevention? That's the whole point. That's the problem with medicine in the United States. Everybody wants to be cured instead of preventing things from happening or finding things ahead of time. That's the point.
That's the whole point of all of your random rants is let's focus on preventative medicine versus waiting for the worst possible outcome. That's why we're scared.
Yeah.
That's what the scare tactics are for.
Yeah, I just got an email a few days ago that said that the United States ranked the lowest out of industrialized nations in medical outcomes.
So,
in other words, no, despite the amount of money that we spend on everything, all the tests and all the fancy blood work and all this other stuff in the medicine, we still rank the lowest in industrialized nations.
That's pathetic and sad. And I feel like it's
but
got
we're the most
multiple
expensive.
reasons, but it's got multiple reasons why. We have so much medical waste. We have people who don't do their follow-ups and their preventative stuff. So do you think they have bad outcomes because they don't follow up?
No, we have bad outcomes because we practice shit medicine.
That too.
You know, if you don't tell if you're not doing, I'm sure that I'm doing what most people don't do. If somebody comes in for dental, I go over all these things, and I'm telling them all these things. I'm like, you have to have this done. You must have this done. I'm not a dentist. You must have this done. I've seen people go to the ICU. People die from dental infections. It's the same thing when I talk about people with asthma, and I go over the asthma action plan and how important that is because people die from asthma. There should be nobody in this country dying from asthma, but every year people die from asthma.
Yep.
Because it's untreated or undertreated. That's why we have shit outcomes, but we're super expensive.
Do you think that it's because we're super expensive we have shit outcomes?
No, the money's obviously going to the wrong place.
So that would agree with what I just said. We have shit outcomes because of the money. Where would the money go to then? Where should it go to?
Prevention, medicine,
educating screening,
people.
Education.
Like people get diagnosed with diabetes, go into the ER, and you have a blood sugar of 500. That's not normal. That's super fucking high. But this person didn't know they were diabetic. Now, all of a sudden...
sort of like someone eating 2 chili dogs and 4 donuts.
If you're not diabetic, your pancreas handles that just fine, and you don't have high blood sugar. But so anyway, guy goes into the ER for whatever complaint, but they check his random blood sugar, and it's 500. Oh, shit, dude, you're diabetic. Here's insulin, but they give him you're diabetic. You need to follow up with your doctor. Here's some insulin to get that down. But they don't teach him anything about being diabetic.
Right.
So now he goes home and fucking dies. Or whatever. And then what? Go ahead.
Or then they say, follow up with your doctor. So they talk to somebody who's not educated, who's answering the phone, who's a clerk, because they're not trained well at all. They put them in for a 15-minute appointment.
For
follow-up. But a follow-up from a hospitalization or a visit to the ER is supposed to not be 15 minutes. And not only that, you're following up with somebody who has a brand new chronic condition in 15 minutes. How much education can you actually give them in that amount of time? This is what I say that we're practicing shit medicine. This is shit medicine. There's no patient that should be seen for 15 minutes for that type of complaint. It's not probable. You can't teach them everything you need to teach them.
You can't even explain to them how to check their blood sugar in 15 minutes, let alone how to take their insulin, how to give a shot, what they're supposed to eat.
On that topic, I just met a guy where I work who's actually transferring to Detroit to go show someone how to be a diabetic because he's a diabetic and he's going to coach them and, with all that stuff. So there are people out there who will show you how to handle said area of medical area.
So random guy is going to teach another guy?
No, he's a diabetic. So he goes around.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he was asked by the
family. I don't think we want to know this story, but I kind of do.
Okay. No, I kind of want to know more details. So this guy that works with you, is he going just to live by family and that's what he's doing, or he's going to be this person's coach and he's getting paid to do that?
He's actually, I don't know the details. I think no. Hold on.
Can you find out more details? Because I want to know these details.
I can't because yesterday was his last day. However, he's going to be a coach, as the Beaveman just said, right? And I do think that's the thing.
So he's
We
a
don't have-
trained diabetic educator
I would believe so.
working with you. So he just
Well, not everybody's a
so
diabetic.
he just graduated from school as a diabetic educator, and that's what he's going to go do.
No, he's a diabetic himself.
What
okay,
is
so
that?
so is my mother, but I wouldn't take advice from her.
Yeah,
because
no,
she's the world's worst diabetic in the world.
Well, there are good diabetic teachers and bad ones. Apparently, you have a bad one. Right?
No, she's not a teacher. That's what I'm saying. We're
She's
like,
a
could you
diabetic
have
patient herself.
So yeah. So anyway, so if you come in and you don't get diagnosed right away with this, if there's no suspicion whatsoever, say you come in for the one I was talking about where it causes the swelling underneath your tongue, they could send you home and you could just die if they don't diagnose it correctly, because that particular condition called Ludwig's angina is not commonly seen. So they might not even notice it right away. They may be like, oh, he's fine. He's just got a little bit of an infection. Give him some antibiotics, send him home, and you could be dead immediately. But if they diagnose it right away, they could actually get ready for it, stick drains underneath your jaw up into that area and drain all the fucking pus out in an attempt to save you. But they would still have to stick a tube down your throat to breathe for you and still admit you to the hospital. And it could just keep coming back over and over and again. Just one of the many things that could happen to you from a dental infection. And get this, when you think that I'm so crazy to say these things, did you know
you're crazy never.
That as far back as the 1600s in England, they kept track of how people died. They started keeping records. That's how far back that they actually go back. And death by teeth was listed as consistently as in the top 5th or 6th cause of death.
So
what was the top one?
That's not important, Ronz. It is amazing how you always miss the point of things. I don't have the list, Ronz. I'm telling you what the consistent top 5th and 6th were.
How do you know it's on the list then? As about 5th and 6th?
Just researching dental infections.
Yeah, he never gets it. He thinks that when I research this stuff, that I research 10 other things. But it's a focused research, Ronz. You would know this if you ever researched anything.
Okay. Okay. I can't turn the rules on you. This is your podcast.
So
You're exactly right. Anyway.
Why do the English people still have bad-looking teeth? If it's been documented for so long, shouldn't they be taking better care of their teeth?
Well, yes, they should.
Yes, they should.
But I think that's misleading fact because, I think they take care of their teeth now.
That's a misleading fact, Swan.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't think so.
Just because all the actors that we see and the royalty and all that other stuff.
Austin Powers fucked up looking teeth.
That's also misleading because that's actually Austin Powers' the movie's fault. That's why we think they have jacked teeth. Has nothing to do with their the teeth. But you can have irregularly shaped or angled teeth.
I know.
And you can have very stained teeth but have super healthy teeth.
Yes, I'm aware.
And do you know why that is,
Are
Ronz?
you really?
Because
aware?
I am aware because my 96-year-old grandma has all of her teeth because she does routine dental care. They may not look pretty because they're 96 years old, but they are all her teeth. No dentures.
Well, I was talking about much younger people, but you can have very stained teeth and still have super strong, healthy teeth. And it's very common in certain areas because of what reason would you say?
Their diet. And what they drink?
No, because there's so much fluoride in the water. Fluoride actually stains your teeth.
Oh.
In some areas, there is like high concentrations of fluoride, so it strengthens your teeth, but it also stains them.
Gotcha.
Which is why there's a belief that you actually should not have fluoridated water or apply too much fluoride. Which I'm a big believer that you should not. But I'm not a dentist, but I go by this theory. And that is that fluoride...
I want to hear this. Why?
Because fluoride is an element that competes with the binding sites of iodide in your body. If you get too much fluoride, then you're actually competing for the iodine binding sites, and we need that for our thyroid.
Yeah, I don't remember
But don't take my word for it, people, because I'm no expert. And I never, ever, never do I act like I am or on
And I
this
feel
podcast,
like
for sure.
you should ask your dentist that question because they read up on it frequently.
That's why our kid wasn't on fluoride.
Yeah.
Remember, I took her off that, and I was like,
Yeah,
no, she
but
doesn't need to be on that.
They both, they go back and forth on whether it should, just like the use of iodine is sometimes good and sometimes bad, depending on what you read.
And this is the same reason why I ask people who have a problem with their thyroid if they swim in pools.
I don't get that part.
Well, of course you wouldn't, Ronz, because you're not a scientist or a medical person. I wouldn't expect you to know. So do not. So do not be.
Let's
so
play
please
it down
do not.
for the.
So please do not be insulted. You should not know. How would you?
Once again, there's a backhanded compliment.
No, it's
You're not
it's
as smart as you
No.
think you are.
No. Why would you know?
Know your realm. That's, I mean, we don't. We,
Oh,
Yeah.
now you're going to put me in my place, so I know my place.
Yeah.
And he finds it
Why-
insulting, but he's
why
really
would-
not.
No,
He
we're
finds
not
it
trying to be
but He's
insulting.
not listening. He's not listening.
And no, you're putting me in my place. I know my place. I'm not as smart as the Beaveman or you.
No.
So why
that's-
should I
see, you
No,
don't get it.
it's not. It's about
know my place.
you were not
I know my
trained
place.
in the medical profession.
Now you're proving.
Oh.
See. Now you're proving that you're a moron because I'm telling you that we wouldn't expect you to know that because you shouldn't. That's what I keep telling you. But you're trying to make it sound like I'm insulting you. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm telling you that you wouldn't know.
That's like, I'm not going to explain to you how that rocket took off because I'm not a fucking astronaut.
You don't, and actually, astronauts usually don't know how things take off. You have to have
Okay,
a propulsion
fucking
expert.
pilot, whatever, scientist.
Okay, whatever. So anyway, back to the why shouldn't I swim in a pool?
I didn't say you shouldn't. What I said was if somebody has thyroid issues, I always ask them,
I stand corrected.
do you
So
swim?
why-
Do you swim in a chlorinated pool?
So why is that an issue?
Because it's the same thing. Excessive chlorine or chlorine can compete with binding sites for iodine or iodine in the body, which is utilized by our thyroid.
And our skin
Very
absorbs
similar.
the chlorine.
Very similar components.
'Cause-
Just like if you drink city water. If you drink city water, you ingest a fair amount of chlorine.
Oh, I hate city water. Tastes like chlorine.
So do
Yeah,
the filters
yeah.
really work to take out some of that?
It would have to say it specifically removes chlorine.
Wow, that is interesting. All right. This is stuff I didn't know, but now that I
And
know,
why would you shouldn't be expected to know it?
I should.
And
I
it's
should.
also, you also have to remember too, because science and medicine is ever evolving, and the opinions expressed by the Beaveman may not be the opinions expressed by your doctor. And therefore, you should never listen to anything I say medically as factual or that I have any knowledge whatsoever. This is an
I agree.
entertainment podcast, people.
Just be entertained and listen to us complain about the Ronz.
I agree.
So what's important? What's important? What's important? Brushing, flossing, and paying attention to your dental health. Ronz, do you floss?
Occasionally.
Oh, Ronz, you should floss every day.
Well, I don't eat every day. Well,
So,
no, I take that back.
So that's
do.
even more reason to floss, because if you're not eating and chewing and taking this, your bacteria still builds up in your mouth. Think about how you go to bed at night and you wake up and your mouth feels all fuzzy and gross and
Placky.
smelly breath and placky. Yeah. So
Well, if you don't,
sleep
I mean,
during
if
the
you don't,
day.
but if you don't floss, you know what's really funny is Ronz is now relating his life to us as if this is what he's been doing for years. Now he's like, well, I sleep during the day now, and
no, I don't eat during the day. I eat at night. Well, still, okay, floss at fucking night then.
no, that's the best way to prevent the cavities, though. Really, even if you didn't brush, flossing would be. I would argue that flossing is more important than brushing. Because how do you get cavity? You get a cavity because that particular element that's in between your teeth or sitting on your teeth sits there. Bacteria grows, plaques grow. It infects your tooth. It erodes through the enamel, through the dentin, into the pulp, and that's how you get an infection. So if you don't get that material out of there, if you've got a piece of meat stuck between your teeth and it's been there for fucking 3 months, guess what?
How can you not
It's
feel
going
that?
to-
It drives me nuts.
It's going to decompose.
Rotting and
that's
fermenting
going to-
in there. What?
Maybe they're saving it for later.
I don't think it
Would
would
you
want that
say the
later.
human evolution is because of a viral bacteria that evolved and
I don't know anything about evolution. God created us all exactly as we are. Science!
science? So with the new variant D out, as they call it,
We're talking about dental right now. I don't know
Yeah,
why do you
so am I.
always want to switch?
I'm
What does
not.
this?
I'm
What does this
actually.
have to do with a dental infection?
Well, you hear the tie-in here, if you'd let me finish, is that to prevent um, all this stuff is common sense, right? Or if you do have something, take all the proper medical procedures with it. Don't just give up on it when you think you feel better.
It's not common sense, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's
So
not common sense. If I gave you
If
medicine,
it was common sense, you'd go to the
shut the
dentist,
fuck up,
Ronz.
Swan. Shut the fuck up, Swan.
Shut the fuck up, Beaveman.
oh
If
yeah,
it
there's
was
a smackdown.
if it was common sense, if I gave you medication and you got better, because I'm your doctor and you didn't go see the dentist, you came to me and I told you, please go see the dentist. I need you to see the dentist. And you got better because I put you on some antibiotics and you feel better. And you go see the dentist and the dentist is like, hey, I need to take this tooth out. A lot of people are like, why? My tooth doesn't hurt. Why does it need to come out? My tooth doesn't hurt. And if
And
the dentist isn't,
And there's the failure on the dentist part.
and if the dentist doesn't tell you, hey, I know you feel better now, but that tooth is rotting. And that there's a direct communication between your tooth, that root, and the bone of your skull that can easily get infected and has lots of blood vessels into it, where you can get an infection like sepsis, or that bone can rot away and you can get a good thing, one of those fun things called osteomyelitis, which is an infection of your bone, and they would have to scrape that bone out of there because it's going to die and it could kill you. If they're not telling them these things because they want to be jovial and not say, oh, it's not a big deal. The dentist didn't seem to act like it was a big deal when it is a big deal. So it's not common sense, honestly. Because it's the same thing. Like, Ronz, you're lifting a box and you strain your arm and it hurts for a couple of days, but it gets better. Is that something that you feel like needs to get addressed with your doctor anymore?
Me, yes.
You're going to see your doctor because your arm is better, but you won't see the dentist.
Why would I? The dentist wears a mask.
So does your doctor right now.
Yeah, well.
He wouldn't know. He hasn't seen the doctor.
Yeah, I don't go to the doctor. I won't go to the doctor until the B-man, tells me that everything's going to be okay. Because right now, every time I mention going to the doctor or the dentist, I'm going to die.
Well, there's one more scary story. So this one's a real one, you can look it up.
All right.
It's pretty sad. So this California truck driver, he was driving along. He was in communications with a pretty young guy, and he had a toothache.
The one who was dead, the sweater was from the long lost daughter of the house that they stopped at.
What?
Oh, it's not a ghost story. My mistake.
No.
Okay, yeah, that campfire story. Okay. Anyway, what's the story?
Are you sure?
Shut up and listen, Ronz. Jeez, could you not interrupt?
Way to go, Swan.
Story time.
So anyway, this guy like going across state lines with a truckload of beer trying to outrun the cops with a blocker involved?
No.
Who was running a blocker in a Trans Am?
No, it's not Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay.
So anyway, no, this is several years ago. But again, it makes you think. Now, this is a kid that did all the right things. So he's an over-the-road truck driver. He was driving from, I think, California to New York. And he started having a toothache. So he decides he's going to go see a dentist. He goes and sees a dentist. They put him on some medication. He's driving along. He's still in communications with his wife. And he's like, my tooth still hurts. So he stops at a destination, calls his brother. His brother comes and he's like, I'll ride back with you to California in the truck or whatever. His brother meets back up with him. They make it to Utah. And this is only over an expanse of a few days. They make it to Utah. The guy's not any better. So his brother makes him takes him to the emergency room. Dude dies from a massive dental infection. Even though he did everything right. He went to see the dentist on his route, and he was trying to make it back to California, and he died in Utah within just a couple days. So you never know. Could that have been the second time he had a dental infection? Very possibly.
It sounds like it was an ongoing thing, but he just ignored it.
Well, we don't know that. What I'm saying is he could have had a dental infection before, like a toothache, and just be like, oh, it's a toothache, and then it went away. This could have been the second time it happened, or maybe it was the third time it happened. They don't really say, but here he is, a young guy, and dies from a dental infection. This was in 2017. So it can happen. 1 in 1,000. Not, I guess I always say this to people. I'm like, okay, so you think that 1 in 1,000 isn't a lot until.
Do you really say that to people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Okay.
Do you think that all the stuff that I say when I say this to people is stuff that I'm making up?
I didn't say that.
No, when I say that I say this to people, I actually do say that. People are like, do you really say that? I'm like, yeah, I really do. That's why I said this is what I say to people. But if you think 1 in 1,000 is not a lot, yeah, it's not a lot until you're the 1 in 1,000 or your child is the 1 in 1,000. Then it
That's
seems
pretty
like
scary when you put it
it's a
like
lot.
that.
Yeah, that's what I do. I like to scare the fuck out of people.
But not me.
Because you fear nothing.
I fear nothing.
No, I was talking with a fellow nurse practitioner the other day, and she was telling me that she hasn't been wearing her CPAP machine. She has sleep apnea. And she said something like, she's like, yeah, wearing that. She's like, I know I should wear it, but it's kind of uncomfortable and it sucks. I said, yeah, so does a stroke. A stroke sucks too.
Yep.
And she said, oh my God. I'm like, that's what I tell my patients. She's like, do you really tell your patients that? I'm like, yeah. If they don't wear their CPAP, yes, I do. I tell them a stroke sucks. Yeah, a stroke sucks. Dying in your sleep sucks. If it's
for those listening and those who don't know, and I'm one of them, I know what a CPAP machine is. What does it do? And how does that, if you don't wear it, you say you get a stroke. How does that happen?
Well, because if you have obstructive or central sleep apnea, obstructive being the more common one, there is something that causes you to not breathe while you're sleeping. That could be from a floppy epiglottis, which is just a little flap that falls over your breathing tube, or you could have like a big tongue, or you could have like a tight posterior opening of the tube. You can have all kinds of different reasons. Maybe you've got reflux and you got a big neck, something like that. Something causes you not to breathe perfectly throughout the night. So you go through long periods of time with shallow breathing or infrequent breathing. And when you do that, your oxygen drops. Now, we breathe not because we per se need oxygen, but because our blood gets acidic, and that's why we breathe. We get rid of we get rid of those acids in our blood. So we get that nice pH balance of our blood. If you don't oxygenate, then carbon dioxide builds up. When that happens, your oxygen drops. So if I, for example, me, who has fairly bad sleep apnea, if you were to put a pulse oximeter on my finger, which registers oxygen levels at the capillary level, my oxygen will drop definitely below 90. And the less oxygen you have, the more strain you put on your blood vessels, the less oxygen to your brain, the more likely you are to have a stroke. Or a heart attack. Stroke, most likely. So yes, when people tell me, they're like, I don't like wearing my CPAP because it bothers my face. I'm like, yeah, well, so does a stroke.
So you wear your CPAP
bothers half your
every night,
face.
though?
Bothers half your face. Yes, I wear my CPAP every night. Have for like 15 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, with that though, will you ever get rid of it?
No, not unless they come up with some awesome technology that will fix it. I'm hoping for nanotech.
So for him,
I totally
no.
agree.
Some people can get rid of their sleep apnea though, because sometimes it's caused by being overweight, being too fat. Yep, when they lay down, things are compressed too much and it blocks it off. So yes, there are people that can get rid of it, but some people cannot.
Some people, it's a jaw positioning thing too. There's actually some dental endodontic devices that people can use also that will reposition their jaw while they sleep, and they take it out in the morning. And
But
sometimes
that's not
that helps. That's not me. None of that stuff will work in
His brain tells him not to breathe. His brain doesn't tell him to breathe.
Not according to my doctor. According to my doctor, even though I have obstructive sleep apnea, I don't have central sleep apnea.
Oh.
So who knows why I don't breathe? Who knows why I don't breathe?
So little things out there that I don't fear.
Maybe it's because you're far superior and you don't need to breathe when you sleep.
Interesting take. Interesting take.
Hasn't killed you yet.
Hasn't killed me yet.
We all know, or at least I know, and the Swan knows, you got a new toy in the mail. And
He sent his
You're
new
going
toy
to
back.
show it off.
He sent his new toy back.
No way. Why?
Well, I am not going to. Yeah, I sent it back.
What?
I'll
What?
have to, because there was an issue with the fittings that I can't explain to the general audience, because that will be even more confusing than the medical stuff I'm talking about.
I was so forward looking to the fruit
New
ninja
toy
slices
did not fit
It's
right.
still going to happen. It's going to happen. Don't worry, Ronz. When I get my replacement sword, it will happen, and we will do some Fruit Ninja shit. I will film some Fruit Ninja. And before I sign off today, I didn't really even get to talk about it. I didn't get to scare you guys enough. Did I? I don't feel like I scared you enough.
You should probably scare Ron a little
No.
bit more.
I think I'll just talk about sepsis even more the next time Tremonde's on.
Okay.
I'll just scare him with some sepsis talk instead. Sepsis is super scary.
Yeah, because it can happen so fast. It is super scary.
It can help. It can happen, like Ron said, from a splinter.
It can.
Sepsis from a
Wow.
splinter. I just wanted to say before I sign off today that for those of you who do not know this, if you're not a DC fan, the
I was
most
going to mention
recent
that, but yes.
the most recent Suicide Squad movie is out, and it is streaming on HBO Max, and it is also in theaters. If you have HBO Max like we do, that's what I'm going to watch it on. I am not
Beaveman,
going.
do you have a special connection to that movie?
I am not going to the theater. So The Suicide Squad is now streaming on HBO Max. And yes, I do have a special connection.
What is that connection?
The boy, also known as Skylar, friend of the show, is in the movie. He is now forever immortalized as a part of the DC universe. So when you watch the movie, there is a scene with a giant starfish with an eyeball in the middle of its body, or a sea star, depending on who you are. And there's a bunch of people with starfishes stuck to their face. And there's a scene where Idris Elba is standing in the middle of the bunch of these zombie-like fellas. And there's someone who bumps into Idris Elba. That is the boy. So
should we get his autograph and frame it?
You should.
No, he's a freak. Why? He's just a stand-in. It's just an extra.
So it's still cool.
So
nobody's gonna know who he is. He doesn't even get a credit. But when you watch it, and this is what's really fun. Is I remember when he was on the set, and he told me he called me or texted me or whatever. He's like, "Hey, I'm in this scene or whatever." He's like, and I bumped into Idris Elba. So I was thinking, I'm like, what? You accidentally bumped into Idris Elba? What did he do? Did he get pissed when you bumped into him? He's like, no. In the scene, I bump into Idris Elba. So that is the actual scene. It is confirmed. That is the boy bumping into Idris Elba when you watch the show.
Yeah, on his right side, because two people bump into him, but he bumps into him on the right.
Well, the other person is black.
Okay, well, how are they supposed to know that he's not black?
Well, I'm just...
Why are you being racist? I just said the right side. Why are you being racist?
Well, there's this guy who's done a lot of cameos.
And you know him? You're friends with him.
No, but he came up on my search one day, and he's actually on a lot of these movie sets. He just happens to be on these movie sets, and he's a background character, and he's so
and you know
famous.
Him. And you know him.
I said I don't.
And this is why you're talking about him?
But he's like another friend of mine and the boy, right, who can make a living as extras in movies.
Yeah, the boy can't make a living as extras in movies.
I'm pretty sure he can if he gets out there and tries.
He could if he lived in Atlanta, but he doesn't. He lives in Michigan.
He can make a living in GR. I mean, they did film part of the Superman Batman movie up there.
A lot of the high percentage of movies now are filmed in Atlanta. And TV shows.
Okay.
But he doesn't live there, so I would not suspect that he would be flying back and forth from Atlanta to do background character parts when you only make like $110.
That doesn't seem very cost effective.
No.
But it gets his foot in the door.
But that's not what he wants to do. So.
Oh. Well, once again, it gets his foot in the door.
To do what?
Whatever he would like. I mean, if he wants to get his foot in the door
if he wants to be a sanitation worker, he should go and be an extra, a background character.
Well, actually, that's how it happened. A friend of mine was on the as an extra.
Can I take your trash?
No, he was
out?
he was an extra on the Batman versus Superman movie when they were filming it up in GR, and they came up to a group of them. It's like, who's got janitorial experience? And he says, I do. And they're like, okay, we need you to do this in the scene, basically. So that little extra knowledge that he had as a janitor paid off.
And that got him a job to be a sanitation worker.
In the movie.
No, that's not what I said.
Oh, well, yeah, I understand what you're saying now.
I don't feel like you do. I'm not feeling like you do. A lot of times when you say that you understand what I said, a lot of times I think that you just say that and you really don't understand what I said. But that's
probably
okay.
Right. And I understand what you're saying.
He's just saying that right, exactly right now. Yes.
Like, yeah, you know what? You're actually right about that. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for me then. It's been a fun conversation. I really didn't get to scare you guys as much as I wanted to. I had a lot of material, but because Ronz and the Swan don't know how to shut up and listen, I didn't get to it. So I guess that just goes to show I really shouldn't over-prepare for the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, you never tell me the topic because you want
There's
my reaction.
There's a reason why I don't tell you, because you do shit research when you're the forerunner. It's terrible, so that's why I don't do it.
Oh well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you give me a topic to do before running on?
I feel like we've done that and you failed miserably.
Yeah,
I have not failed miserably. Maybe it would be, man.
You're right. You haven't failed miserably. You have failed phenomenally.
It was awesome.
It was an awesome failure. It was beautiful.
You know, it's a matter of perception of how you fail.
It is.
And I don't think I have, but you know,
it is. And right now, I'm disenchanted. That's the correct. That would be the correct use of that word.
Okay, fair enough. It's your podcast. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
True enough. All right. Well, that's it for me, folks. I am the Beaveman, General of the Great Slaptail Nation Army.
No one cares.
Lord and Commander of the Night's Watch.
Yeah, and on that note, the almighty Beaveman who said...
Can I just fucking say goodbye?
No.
Who said we are not going to do any more...
Bye from the Swan, you get all mad, but you're like, but this is the Beaveman. Yeah.
And he said we weren't going to do any more remote podcasts, and I said, I'm not going to hold out. And, we're going to have a set time. I said, I'm not going to hold out. Anyway, what happens, we have a set time, but it got changed to Friday, and now we're doing remote podcasts. So things change.
So here's what I don't understand.
I'm not disenchanted, though.
No, here's what I don't understand is why do you think it's a shock that we went back to doing remote podcast? Do you not listen to the news or watch the news or hear the news? Why do you think that we're going back to doing remote podcasting?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I know about the variant, but I didn't think it would affect you guys that well or that much.
The numbers just topped 100,000 cases again when it went down to 12 or 12, less than 20. And I work with COVID positive kids.
Trying to protect you.
Oh, also. Really?
Yeah, I'm not doing it for Swan.
Like,
who do you think
we're
in
the same household, so it's okay. But if you can limit your exposure to people outside of your network, especially when you're around people who are with known COVID positive people, it's like,
should be me.
Why would you put yourself in that barrel?
For the podcast.
Because Ronz fears nothing, folks.
Nothing. I fear nothing at all.
And he's the one who would be most likely to die if he gets COVID.
Ronz, do you want to jump into that pit of HIV positive needles?
If it meant saving everybody's life, I would.
For the sake of the podcast, Ronz.
For the sake of the podcast.
We'll jump into that pit of HIV positive needles.
I jumped into a smoking car.
They don't have to be HIV positive. Let's just get a bunch of them.
Dirty. We don't know.
Off.
Yeah.
No, they don't even have to be dirty.
Used?
I'm cool with
clean. Okay, clean.
Will you shut the fuck up, Swan?
Yes, I will. I will shut up. I'll shut up now. For just a minute.
I'd be okay with him jumping into a pit of clean needles.
Okay.
Ronz, would you do that if we set that up for you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're clean. I mean, they're clean. They're sterile needles. All we got to do is take the caps off.
Sure.
Will you jump into it?
You have a 50-50 chance they may be all lying sideways and you might not even get poked. But some of them might be pointy end up. So, you willing to risk it?
Sure, why not?
Excellent. Okay, we will do that. I will see how much it costs to get several hundred hypodermic needles sterile and have you jump into a pit with them. Excellent. You've heard it. You guys heard it. You members of the Great Slaptail Nation have heard that the Ronz will jump into a pit of clean needles. I'm excited.
There we go.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so am
I don't mind making that small investment. I'm gonna look that up today.
This is like the jackass version of the podcast.
You know what? And we can do diabetic needles. We don't even have to do the big ones.
Yeah, very fine gauge. Like
31.
Yeah.
31 to 33.
I don't know what that means.
Tiny.
That's okay.
It'll just feel like a bunch of mosquito bites.
After you jump in the pit, can we throw them at you also?
Like darts.
Oh, darts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we do that?
Are you good at throwing darts?
Yes.
I might consider no on that one.
I will hit you. I will hit you right in the pee hole.
Well,
I'm good at hitting small targets.
Have you played darts before?
Yeah.
Are you on a dart league?
No,
but we have a dart board and we play darts.
Oh, okay. Then
I will even practice. I will practice with needles. It's great. All right, so we'll get that set up. That's great. Thanks, Ronz. I'm excited. I'm excited now. I'm more excited about that than I was with doing the Fruit Ninja stuff. All right, so adios, mooch fuckos.
Bye from the Swan.
And from the Ronz. Hey.